Okay. Good morning. I usually start all of these really well until you sit here. I don't know. I'm not going to say you're bad luck. Maybe you just like...
I threw off the vibe. Normally we're a little bit more formal whenever we do webinars together. If you can call it formal, whatever that is.
Formal as we're going to get. Sure. Like, there's not really much that we are doing that's formal, but Medicare Cafe is an even more less formal one. So then I'm with you and I'm like, okay, I'm doing like a training. And then I'm like, wait a second. No.
We're chill.
We're just chill.
Yeah, we're just chill.
So, sup, guys?
Hello.
Welcome to the Medicare Cafe.
Happy Valentine's Day.
Happy Valentine's Day. We were actually just discussing with Sadie all of her fun Valentine's. Like, you're making yourself.
I make
You're
Valentine's.
An artist. Yes.
I have a lot of fun drawing on my iPad. Just because I'm a child.
That's
and
not like people like make careers doing that. You can't because you have to stay here.
I've made you handmade Valentines in the past.
Actually, I got one
with the cat with the tag.
I just got a my phone brings up like my previous like Snapchats that I sent, and that was a run this morning. I was like, hey, Sadie sent this to you 3 years ago. Where did she go?
I love making Valentines. They're very fun.
And it was, you can't really see it well.
Meow. It's a meme. It's the business cat.
Ah! Wrong way.
That's a great one, too.
It's a picture of me and my husband. But it was a little picture of a kitty.
You can't
really see it. But you'll have to trust me. And the kitty says, according to the performance reports, you're the best paws ever. And literally, like, I still have it, actually. So it was very, very sweet. So welcome. Happy Valentine's Day. First of all, I hope you guys will interact with us, talk with us today.
Please talk to us.
Please, for the love of all that is good. Please, you can go ahead and message us there on the internet machine. Or just feel free to text this number below. This number does send it directly to my phone. So please feel free to reach out. But would love to know, what are your, like, Valentine's Day plans? That's something that I'm interested in. Like, what's like Valentine's is a very polarizing, I don't even use the word holiday, but like celebration.
Yeah.
I know, like, for me and my husband, I say, like, let's just not do gifts. Let's like go out to a dinner. Not Valentine's Day because everything's really expensive. Except the only thing I say is if I don't have chocolate covered strawberries, he'll die.
Yeah.
Like, I am pretty...
You'll just pass away.
Listen, yeah, I won't. He will, for sure. And in a more aggressive, violent way. But that's my only thing. Like, on Valentine's Day, I don't care, like... I don't care if I don't even speak to you, but if I don't at some point, either the day before, the day of, or the day after, get chocolate-covered strawberries, we're going to have issues.
You know, this is slightly changing the subject, but I know that one thing you talk about often is... like sending, like, instead of like Christmas cards, doing like other holidays.
Yeah.
So one of my good friends, she owns a floral business, like a wedding floral business, and she does Valentine's Day like stuff because she has a dog named Cupid, and so like they don't send out holiday stuff, they send out Valentine's Day stuff,
like Valentine's Day, thank you
cards, yes, yeah. And like big like social media stuff,
yeah.
And I was like, oh my gosh, this is so cute. That's because
really,
you don't see any other businesses like. I mean, people will post stuff for Valentine's Day, but like she kind of goes a little bit more all out.
Yeah,
and
go
sends
all
out
out.
Cards to everyone. Like it was very, very sweet, and I was like, that's kind of what we talk about at work.
That's a great idea.
Yeah.
Actually, one of my best friends owns a really successful hair salon here in Columbia, and the salon's birthday, like the salon opening day, is February 13th. So they do like February this whole love birthday month.
Aww.
And so they turned 5 this year. And
Nice.
so that's something that they're doing a big thing.
Cool.
It's Valentine's Day, but like more importantly, it's their birthday.
Yeah,
So,
I love that.
Very cool. So welcome, guys. I also want to throw out there before we get started in our content today, wanted to throw out there that congratulations to the Chiefs.
Woo!
For the Super Bowl. I think we're huge. I mean, we're here in Columbia, Missouri, and right smack dab between Columbia and St. Louis. So, like, obviously, huge Chiefs fans here. In fact, I do my nails big. I'm like, I can't do this, but I do Chiefs on my nails. So I was going to say, good thing they won. Otherwise, I was going to look really silly on Monday.
No way.
I mean,
we've stuck with them through thick and thin. You know what?
Thick
Yeah.
and
It's a joy that they even have made it the past, few years.
You sound like somebody's gotten second place a lot.
As a Chiefs fan, we've gotten less than second place
for years.
all of my life.
For years. So welcome, guys. We're going to go ahead and get started because it is, I think at this point, almost 5 after 10. So welcome, guys. Today, we wanted to talk specifically about being your own lead vendor. And we hit on this a little bit last week. Last week, we talked about how to work and how to turn your current book of business into leads. The biggest reason, guys, we're talking a lot about prospecting and marketing. The reason for that is because it's coming time to where, again, we do know working in the Part C and Part D space, we do have to deal with CMS or their compliance. The idea here, guys, is that like CMS, by a stroke of a pen, CMS has put a proposal in to say that TPMOs cannot sell information to other TPMOs. What does that mean? It means currently if you are buying any type of leads, if you are purchasing leads that you are not creating or cultivating on your own, if this goes through, then you will no longer be compliant. Mm-hmm. You will not have the ability to purchase any leads that could potentially lead to a C or D sale going into the 2024 selling season, which is really scary if you're somebody who has built a reliance or a dependency on purchasing leads. So that's why we like to remind people that remembering that leads should only be there to boost your sales. Yes. They should not be something, if you're starting out in this industry, it makes sense that you would be utilizing leads to kind of get you a kickstart.
Yes.
But if you have any experience or you're within, I'd say, minimum 2 years in this industry, if you're over 2 years, you really should not have leads as a source of new clients.
Yes. You will see some of bigger agencies, people that have been around for a while, they'll say, oh, I haven't bought a lead in years and years and years. So it's always the goal that we're working towards. And though that this is pretty restricting sort of like rules that might come in place, it is something that is going to start like kickstart people becoming their own lead vendor. Words are hard. So it's kind of, it's like pushing, it's like pushing you kind of through like a gate to kind of like, jumpstart you getting on this process and learning how to do these things. So in a sense, it's good because it kind of lights a fire under your butt, but it is a little restricting, so it can be pretty scary.
They're expensive. Leads are, we talk about this a lot. So one thing I would mention as well, when it comes to utilizing these leads and what this looks like, leads, we had to focus on, like, when we say, like, our experienced agents, they don't buy leads, I don't want that to be mistaken for they don't market. Right. So there's a huge difference. We talk about this. You might hear it called, like, push versus pull marketing. Or when we talk about it, we say marketing versus prospecting. Yeah. So what we are trying to do is curve agents to where they're no longer prospecting. Prospecting is what happens, aka push style marketing. Prospecting is what happens whenever you're doing whatever you can to push out your content, to get your content out there, to try to make it to where you're aggressively getting across somebody from the seat from somebody. They're not reaching out to you. Push marketing is like this, doing nothing to build your brand, doing nothing to build like your legacy or anything like that. But what it is doing is a more expensive way to get you an appointment. Yes. Right? And everything else, hopefully the experience of the appointment, everything else is good to where you create this relationship, but you're coming in completely cold. They don't know you. You don't know them. You had to kind of push yourself into that situation. Compared to what we call true marketing, aka pull style marketing, is where people are seeking you. Yes. People hear of you, know you. There's a bit of a relationship, even though the relationship's not two ways. Maybe they know you, you don't know them. But there's a reason for them to kind of reach out to you outside of you saying, I need you to call me. Here's my content. Here's my content. Yep. Michelle asked a great question. I have an FMO that gives me mailing lists to use for turning 65s. Would that be included? So that is a great question. So we'll talk about that here in a little bit. But mailing, if you were to create your own mailers and you're putting the stamps on the postcards and you're sending out sending mail out to these T65ers, that would be you creating your own leads. Now, the problem is, how did you get that information? If a TPMO gave you a T65 list, that's them giving you potential leads, giving you that client information that could be deemed as non-compliant after the new ruling that will come out.
And FMOs are considered TPMOs, right?
Are considered TPMOs.
Okay, yes.
Yeah. So, but again, it depends, so it would be like, how did you acquire that list of T65ers? Did you purchase it? Who gave you that list of T65ers? I will also say mailing a T65 list is going to be, and I don't mean to sound harsh, but the biggest waste of your marketing dollars will be mailing of something to a T65er. And I think we talk about that. Do I talk about mailing today? I say this because Sadie made. I was in some big meetings this morning, so Sadie made everything. Do we talk about mailers?
Not quite directly, but I mean it'll kind of tie into what we talk about a little bit here.
I think it's this one, right? Yeah. So when we talk about, if you're going to spend money on your own mailers, I highly recommend more of that pull style marketing, keeping it focused on branding, keeping it focused on that. We use our AMP pieces for a lot of that stuff. And when you're going to do your own mail, I recommend only working with your current book of business, especially for those T65ers. Why do I hate the T65ers when it comes to any type of push style marketing, aka cold calling, mail leads, things like that? Is because those individuals are crazy inundated with way more, or agencies and companies with way larger marketing budgets than what we have. So you're having to compete with United Healthcare, Mutual of Omaha, Aetna, call centers, Medicare itself. And so they're so inundated with both phone calls and leads that your one piece will have zero impact for them.
Yes.
So with the turning 65 market, when you are trying to work and try to appeal to those demographics, you either have to be first, meaning that you're sitting that piece at when they're 64, and guess what? Everybody else has picked up on that as well. So if you're starting 6 months before they turn 65, you're already the last person to that gate. You got to do it at 64. But also, my recommendation when you're trying to appeal to that turning 65 market is to really channel that earning. If you're new in this industry, the T65 market is not where I would start.
Yeah.
Because they're going to be the people who are looking for information, people who are doing more research. And so you have to gain those people by doing things like educational events or having your reputation or just having a much stronger brand recognition.
Right. Yes, exactly. One thing that I've talked about before on some other webinars is how my mother-in-law turned 65 this year, and for the past year, she has been trying to collect, for a little bit, she tried to collect all of the mailers that she got, just from anyone. Right. It didn't matter if it was from agents. It didn't matter.
Literally that had the word Medicare on it, yeah.
Yes, and then about a month after, she just started throwing it away because she had piles of it. So 65 market is really tough. Mailers can be, like you said, if you're working with your current book of business, whenever they see your mailer, they see your name, they brand, they know that they can trust it. It's not just something,
it looks like
random.
If they don't know who you are, and like Michelle's putting, like I do, selling on being a local agent. If they don't know who you are, then again, it's always good to push out your brand. It's always good to push out your logo in front of those individuals, but mailing can be incredibly expensive to do that with little measurable return. And so if you are wanting to do, if you're going to mail out your own personal piece, it's marketing, it's not prospecting, meaning that if they see it consistently enough, maybe eventually, they won't be when they turn 65, but maybe eventually they'll become a client with yours. They'll build that familiarity, they'll build that trust. It's a very much a long-term play. Yeah. And and those mailers, especially now with postal being so up, can be really, really expensive with very little return. So I don't like, now, who would that work for? Go anywhere other than the T65 market. Try the turning 68, the turning 72. Anybody but the T65 market, you'll get a much higher return on your own pieces. We still say that like our AMP pieces, those really pretty branded pieces, are not great client acquisition pieces because they look like advertising. They're beautiful. That's why mailers have always worked better, is because they look official. They're a little deceiving, but they got the highest return. So doing your own mailers for pure prospecting purposes, it's lower returns, more expensive, not something that I would recommend. But it is great, like we mentioned here, when you're working your own current book of business. So you either maybe are working another type of business that is aging into this market, or again, working with people who are already 65, they already have a core product with you, but you're cross-selling other products like dental, cancer insurance, short-term care insurance, final expense. There's a ton of other products out there. Making sure that you're turning those policyholders into clients would be my number one recommendation.
And also, I just want to highlight, Michelle did say, like, it's only a piece of a marketing plan,
Yes.
which I'm sure that you guys talked about quite a bit last week. This is one thing that we always say is don't ever put your eggs in one basket.
No, ma'am.
Exactly how she said, if you're going to be mailers, she's also doing other things. That's just one piece. She's not, so even if, and all these different lead and marketing systems, they all are, what's the word? The different ways that you can get leads, they all kind of have their time and they ebb and they flow and stuff like that. So, a year ago, hey, mailers were like, yeah, let's do it because it was after COVID and there was, all that sort of stuff. Now it's a little bit down, but that's the reason why it's great to have a marketing plan so you can kind of see what's working out right now and what's not.
And that's why you have 3 prongs because they all can't be fire every time.
Right, exactly.
So we did get a really great question. Said Happy Valentine's Day to you both. That's not the question. That's a statement, but Happy Valentine's Day to you too. It's also my sister's birthday. Very fun.
Yes.
If leads are generated by your FMO and given to agents at no cost, will that still be allowed on the proposed rule change? And so that's a great question that we would need to talk out and get details on. My thought process is they do say cannot be sold. So if the lead is not sold, it specifically said in the wording cannot be sold. And the problem is that we as an FMO and you as an agent are considered 2 different TPMOs. We don't want to open up the gates of like we're all one TPMO working. We're a TPMO, you're under our umbrella TPMO because then that opens up the door. Like if an agent who you're not related to whatsoever has some significant compliance issues, then you be affected by that.
I can see how that
we don't want umbrella TPMOs. It's going to cause way more harm than good. But the word that was specifically said was sold. So that's a great question. More details to come. Let's just hope that maybe that doesn't pass.
Yes.
Right? That would be the best. There's a lot of, again, rules and regulations that came out with that compliance update, including bringing back the 48-hour scope of appointment rule, changing how educational events are ran, just kind of taking a step back into like compliance, what it looked like in 2018.
Yeah.
Which is not what we want. So next, kind of looking at this one, a great way to kind of be your own lead vendor. I am the biggest proponent of hosting events. And the reason why I love hosting events is, number one, it is the best way to attract the T65 market. That's what the market everybody wants to go after. But it is by far what hosting events will do, depending on the event, but honestly kind of all of them, they do handle both prospecting and marketing. Yeah. If you host an event and if you have a strong call to action, if you don't have a strong call to action, it's only marketing, you don't get clients from that. You can't expect people to want to reach out to you. You have to do some work in there. But if you have a strong call to action, what hosting an event will do, sales, educational, formal, non-formal, will allow you to build your brand, show you're the expert, build something that's marketable, and allow you to get butts in seats, allow you to get across the table from somebody and take applications and make money off of it.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. You are casting a wide net with different sorts of events. Mm-hmm. You're not only bringing potentials and current clients, you're bringing in their family members, you're bringing in their friends, you're bringing in their caretakers. So it casts a very, very wide net. But the main thing, especially if you're doing like seminars, is consistency. Consistency is a big thing. Obviously, if you're throwing like block parties, which are great events to hold, brings in lots of prospects. Those maybe you don't have to be as consistent with. But as far as like hosting events, and even like I have kiosks on there. I spelled it wrong.
Did you spell kiosk wrong?
I spelled kiosks.
Oh. Well, I don't think anybody would have noticed. Would you have noticed
that?
I
pointed it out.
You added yourself.
Yeah, I did. But consistency. You want to be seen. You want to make sure that you are in the same place at the same time every month. Mm-hmm. People know that they can expect you. Yep. Because quite honestly, your first event or two, you might not have very many people show up.
That's the problem. But that's the problem.
And people get very discouraged by that.
Very quickly because it's a lot of work.
Right.
And you're hearing about these people doing these events and having 250 people show up. You do one and maybe one if anybody shows up. But you have to, again, it's all about something that keep in mind with all marketing, all prospecting is something that we've said for years. Familiarity builds trust. trust will equal sales. If you are doing something for the first time, it's not familiar with people yet. So they don't trust it. It's not top of mind. They're a little angsty about it. But the more you do something, the more familiar that will become and the more people will innately trust it. It's like whenever you're listening to a song on the radio and the first time you listen to that song, you hate it, right? It's like a horrible tune. You don't understand. It makes no sense. The 10th time you hear that song, you're bopping your head and listening along, right?
We have a lot of... up with it in your head.
Yes, and like you might talk about how much you don't like that song, but like, girl, like it's a bop and you know it. You're singing along to it. That's exactly what familiarity does. So that's why consistency across all marketing platforms is incredibly important because you have to build familiarity in the activities that you're doing. Hosting events, like you mentioned, the top one. Your first one, you may get nobody. Your 10th one, you're going to fill a room.
Yes.
If you're doing it correctly, at least.
And honestly, events are really great for just getting in front of people. You're building that trust really quickly. It's not over a phone call. They can see your face. They can hear your voice. They can talk to you. They can shake your hand, which I think makes a big difference as far as, you know, if someone gets a phone call from someone versus like seeing you and meeting you, who are they going to go with?
There's such a trust barrier.
Yes.
You know, and you can do virtual events. We saw that become really popular during COVID. They're less popular now, not because they aren't a great idea, but because our people are like hungry for face-to-face interaction.
Yeah.
I was in Dallas last week and they were talking about how do we do more of these meetings going forward. And they were just like, I don't like the COVID methods. And there's like, what do you mean by COVID methods? Oh, virtual.
Right.
But like that's how closely those two are tied now.
Right.
So people are really striving towards that face-to-face. Let's talk about a little bit about referral partners. I hate that Carrie's not here, which we haven't addressed it, why Carrie's not here. Carrie today is actually taking her test. She's getting a special certification or like, what's it called when you have like letters at the end of your name?
Not
designation.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, yeah.
She's taking testing for certain designations to become an actual Social Security expert. So she's going to be a Social Security advisor.
Come on.
In addition to her doing the financial service and, of course, in addition to her being a successful agent, because she's going to take that designation and teach classes to financial advisors.
What a friggin' rock star.
She really
honestly.
is. It's a 5-hour test that she is taking today. So everybody
could be me.
Send Carrie. Yeah. Everybody send Carrie good vibes. That's what she's doing today.
Awesome.
Really, really excited for her. But anyways, she's kind of the queen of these relationships. Make friends with financial planners, pharmacies. We're actually getting ready to launch a brand new program with one of our integrity partners about how to have people do pharmacy programs, like a plug and play pharmacy. So those are going to be really cool. But it's all about, I think you put this on the slide and I couldn't agree more. Do not pay for referrals. Then it's elite. Don't do that. Do not pay for referrals. The quickest way to burn a bridge is to add finances into it. And so it needs to be whenever you're approaching these people about becoming a referral partner and networking partner, you need to focus on everybody has tattooed on their forehead what's in it for me. And it's not finances. It's, hey, if they come to me for their insurance, then if they're a pharmacy, then I'll make sure that they stay with carriers that will use you as in network.
Yes.
Or I'll make sure that they can save money on their stuff and really refer to you being the expert on how they save money. If they're a financial planner, hey, if they come to me for their Medicare, then they don't go to somebody who does all of it and will eventually take your financial business. So keeping money out of it, you need to find other ways to show value in what you're doing.
Also, I feel like we see like time and time again talking with our agents where everybody seems to think that they are the exception.
Everybody, yeah.
To that. Oh, no. We've been good friends for a long time. We have a really great relationship. It will be totally fine. I'm not kidding. Every single time I've heard it here in the office, it has not ended well.
No.
Because, you know, and maybe the relationship stays, but like they don't do business together anymore, anything like that.
That's best case scenario.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because it's like if you can't promise that you're going to get them anything. And money is a big promise. So
and it's crazy how much emotion is attached to money. Yeah. You know what I mean? How much
it's the business.
Emotion. Yeah.
You know, yeah, exactly. So keep it friendly. No money.
The last thing we talk about is kind of, and Sadie put this beautifully, is just everyday brand building and marketing. I call this like the warm chatter. It's literally talking about like letting everybody know what you do and how you help people, being really proud of what you do. So again, like I yell at my husband for this all the time. He's gotten better about this, but I was like, do you know what I do? I build businesses for a living. Like, and this is what you're doing right now. But we would be like, literally, again,
I can hear it. I can see it.
we would be like at a party, or we would be like at a baseball game or something like that, like where we know people locally. And my husband, he owns his own business. He's a contractor. He builds houses. And we would be talking to somebody, and they'd be like, oh yeah, we're kind of just looking in the area. We're trying to figure out, like, do we want to build a house here? Do we want to buy new? Like, we're just kind of putting out our feelers. And he's like, oh, well, that's cool. And I was like, literally,
Like, little does he know that.
3 more words.
Yeah.
I do that.
Yeah.
3 more words is all you need. I do that.
He's trying to be humble, which you can respect. But also,
He was so uncomfortable being like, I don't want to feel like I'm pushy. I'm like, they're literally saying, like, we need help.
yeah, that's exactly the thing. It's like you're almost
Sorry,
like
I'm getting
doing
emotional
them.
about this.
You're
I'm getting
doing like a
frustrated.
disservice to them
Yes.
for not letting them know.
And-
And that's not saying, "Hey, go with me." That's
No.
saying,
Hey, I can answer
"I
your
do
question.
that." Yes,
I do
exactly. I can if you want.
Yeah. Or if I'm not a good, that's what Chad, I always say, like, just add this. If I'm not a good fit, I can help you find someone who is.
Exactly.
Because then it shows, like, I just want what's best for you. And, like, 9 out of 10 times he is a good fit. There's been a couple times where he's just like, you know what? It's 3 a.m. and I'm getting a phone call. I think I have another person that might be a better fit for you. But it's all about, and, like, again, like, he wouldn't carry business cards on him. And I'm like, I personally spent a lot of money on those business cards.
Right.
And he'd be like, oh, like, here, can just add my number to your phone. Adding my number to your phone does nothing.
Right.
Because then, like,
It's just another contact.
it's literally you
Yeah.
out of contact, it's gone forever. So I'm
Right.
like, just carry your business cards. They have these really cool ones. It's actually like a key fob that, like, you connect, like, you just touch it to a phone and it automatically puts all your information up there.
Oh my gosh, you could be doing that without like
Literally, just like
no,
walking.
don't do that.
Just like somebody's
But-
on their phone, you just walk up and like, don't do that. That made it weird. But, like, there's just so much that you can be doing. And in correlation with the events and things like that, reaching out to those partners, just making sure that, like, you have yourself. It's a very Merry Christmas.
That's I was thinking that, but
I can't help it. Come up with a 30-second elevator pitch about what you do. Because we typically, I think insurance agents tend to be kind of lumped in with used car salesmen and, like, just really fun. Like, you're not the life of the party. Your kid's not bringing you to career day and being like, my dad's going to compete with the cop that just busted that crime last week.
Right.
But making sure that you have yourself a nice 30-second elevator pitch that really talks about where your passions come through. And if people hear that you're passionate about your job, then, like, say less. They definitely want to partner with you. They want to work with you. But if you're just like, oh, I sell insurance for a living, and, like,
I feel like specifically with this market that we're in, it is something that people are they are anticipating it, right?
Right.
Like they're getting ready. So it's something, and they will want help.
there's so much
They
confusion
will want
out
help.
there.
Yes. So
They're
it's
begging for it.
just throwing it out there. I find that to be so much more helpful. Hey, I can help advise you on what you want to do. Like that, I don't know.
There's, like, 2 schools of thought. Some people, like, I don't want to confuse my people with what I do and, like, come across insincere. So I used to say, like, oh, what do I do for a living? I help seniors with financial decisions around healthcare. Like, that's a big part of what I do. Now, Mike, who used to host Medicare Cafe, he hated that. He's like, no, I'm an insurance agent. I'm not going to dress it up. But there's, like, if you can just talk about how your passion shines through and your knowledge shines through it. I don't care if you tell people that you're an astronaut part-time, but for the rest of the time you're selling insurance. As long as you're passionate about it, that
Yeah.
will come through.
Agreed.
Perfect. So that is, guys, we are right at 10:28, almost the end of 10:30, which is the end of our show. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with us. Again, I'm really excited for Carrie to come back. We're going to be doing a lot of classes coming up. Specifically, again, she's just taking a 5-hour test today, but talking about, like, Social Securities and, like, how does Social Security and Medicare work with each other, intertwine. Oh, Brad says y'all were Rams fans before they left St. Louis. I was never
How dare you?
a Rams fan.
1, how dare you?
1, 2, how dare you?
How dare you?
It's funny how, like, you're one or the other.
Oh, yeah. I mean, like, and even now, it's like, I don't know too many Rams fans who are now Chiefs fans.
No.
They're just like, I'm heartbroken, or
I don't have a team. Missouri doesn't have a
that's,
team.
I mean, truly,
That's how
I
Rams
think
fans
that's how a
feel.
lot of people are, which, I mean, there aren't very many of them out there, so it's not like
Why
we
would
get
there
that a
be?
lot, but
Yeah.
like, no, I was born
A
with
Chiefs
a
fan?
Chiefs fan. I was
Yeah.
born into a family. I had no choice.
You
so.
had no choice. See, I adopted them. You were born with it.
Mhm.
It's a little Bane reference. I never cared.
He said, my bad. Yeah, Brad.
Yeah, Brad.
How dare you?
Brad's one of our Kansas City, Kansas fans. So
yeah.
appreciate you, Brad. Congratulations on the win. It was our win.
Yes.
But no, I was never. I'll tell you who I was into. I loved the Chargers. For the longest time, I loved the Chargers.
That's weird.
And I have no idea why. I'm just like, those guys. Those are my people.
I married a Minnesotan, so I am now... he's excited about the
What's
Chiefs.
up there? Duh.
The Vikings.
Yeah, no,
yeah.
that's stupid.
So
I figure like they just do hockey and then the rest of the time they're in denial.
that's, well, yeah, kinda. But yeah, we are a divided household, but we're civil.
Okay.
So
that's
maybe
good.
one day we'll have a Vikings Chiefs Super Bowl. That would be the thing, but that ain't happening anytime soon. So
See, my house, the only thing that like my house isn't necessarily divided on, but there's disagreements on is Missouri baseball. Like my husband, like we really aren't baseball people. We're more football, but I am very much I love to watch Cardinal baseball. I'd rather go to a Royals game. Because the Royals don't care. And the beer is cheaper, the tickets are cheaper, and the food is great. And you tailgate at the baseball games.
Yeah.
Compared to the Cardinals games, like if the Cardinals are losing, everyone's having a bad time.
Right.
They're like real fans that really care compared to the Royals that are just like, hey, there's a baseball game going on.
Yeah.
That's cool. So I'd rather go to a Royals game, but I like watching the Cardinals better.
I would rather do just about anything other than watch baseball. So, yeah, I don't care. I don't care.
Clayton's
This
on
is my
here.
favorite cafe ever. He's a great example of our beloved former Rams fans.
He is the one.
Sorry, Zongo.
They left you.
They left.
And that's how they feel.
Yeah.
Sorry. But no, yeah. It was again, the Super Bowl game was like what you want out of your Super Bowl. You know what I mean? It wasn't a blowout. It wasn't like this person's for sure gonna win. There wasn't really even like an underdog. I guess the Chiefs were a little bit, but this Super Bowl was exactly what you want out of your Super Bowl.
Well, yeah, it was a nail biter. It was like, oh my gosh, everyone was like on. Yeah, it was great. Yeah, it kept people watching the game.
My poor 2-year-old at like 8:30, I was like, okay, like we got to leave the Super Bowl party. We're going to go home. It's your bedtime. And then that's whenever we picked up the fumble and got within 4. And I was like, sorry, kid, you're going to be tired tomorrow.
Tired, yeah.
That's daycare's problem. So, any other questions, comments, concerns, threats, or promises about how to be your own or lead source, be your own lead vendor? Not only is it a better business practice, guys, but like CMS may say like you have to. It's so scary. It just goes down to like you need to diversify. If your business is rocking 100% on Medicare Supplement, Medicare Advantage, and PDP sales, guys, like I don't need to be dramatic, but like.
What?
A stroke of a pen and agents, could be out of the equation.
Yeah.
So diversify your book, diversify your lead sources. For the love of all that is good. I'm doing this a lot. No one's commented on how great these are.
Your nails are incredible. Guys, she did them herself. She didn't mention that. She did that herself, yeah.
It's kind of my thing. All
okay.
right. Appreciate you guys so much. We'll see you next Tuesday when Carrie will be back and we'll talk about what her 5-hour test looked like. We might just make a whole episode off of what she learned and what she's going to do with it going forward. So until next time, guys, have fun.
Make money.
And give impeccable service.
I know. I held my smile too long.
One more time.
Okay.
Have fun.
Make money.
And give impeccable service. Oh, I hated that. Bye, guys.
Hi, go Chiefs.